All right. I didn't think we'd be here again, but here we are. Back at it with the Epstein Files, the political horror franchise that refuses to die. If the U.S. had a national mascot, at this point it would be a stick man holding a giant Epstein emails folder, running in circles while everything burns behind him. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the chaos. If you watched my previous Epstein video, congratulations, you're officially part of the sequel. And trust me, this sequel has more plot twists than a Netflix conspiracy documentary directed by a sleep-deprived intern. So let's get into it. Everything exploded again when Democrats released a new batch of Epstein emails from his estate. Real emails, not memes. Not Photoshop screenshots from Aunt Karen's Facebook. Actual documents, time-stamped, archived, ugly fonts and all. The first one says Trump spent hours at my house with a victim, which is a sentence that instantly sends half the country into meltdown mode. Another email says Trump knew about the girls. And before we go further, yes, the girls means exactly what you think. Imagine the stickman version of Trump entering the frame like a WWE wrestler, yelling, "I barely knew Epstein. I haven't spoken to him in 15 years. But right behind him, a massive roll of emails drops from the ceiling like a cartoon carpet. The emails stare at him with pixelated stickman eyes like, "Bro, is that so?" This, my friends, is what political chaos looks like. Then you have the media. The stickman newsroom divides instantly. Left-leaning outlets scream, "Trump caught! Panic in the White House!" Right-leaning outlets scream louder, "Democrat hoax! Nothing to see here!" Meanwhile, the poor neutral stickman with a laptop just whispers to himself, "I just wanted weather updates." But the real issue isn't even the emails. It's the timing. Because earlier this year, when Trump returned to the White House, his team launched a full, "We're finally revealing the Epstein Files" campaign. It felt like a movie trailer. Pam Bondi held a massive binder like a stickman Dora the Explorer and said, "It's on my desk." Kash Patel said they were ready to release everything. Influencers were invited to the White House to see Phase 1, the files. People actually believed transparency was coming. People were hyped. Then, poof. Nothing happened. Instead, the FBI released a memo saying, "Epstein died by suicide. No client list exists. No blackmail exists. Everyone go home." Supporters were like, "What?" Critics were like, "Oh, come on." And Trump's team said, "Yep, that's the official word." For a couple months, the story disappeared like a stickman hiding behind a 2-pixel tree. Everyone assumed this was dead again. Then these new emails dropped, and Congress immediately went from chill to DEFCON 1. Here's where the stickman animation becomes premium content. A new representative, Galava, gets sworn in. She hasn't even unpacked her stickman office plant yet. First thing she does? Signs the discharge petition that had been stuck one signature short for weeks. That signature unlocked the vote. Republican leadership panicked. Suddenly there are late-night meetings, frantic hallway conversations, stickman aides tripping over their own coffee. Journalists ambushed every member in sight. Do you support releasing the files? What about Trump's statements? Is the FBI memo still valid? The whole building turned into a political escape room that no one wanted to be in. And then the vote finally happened. 427 to 1. An absolute landslide in favor of releasing the files. Even the Senate passed it. Trump signed it. Pam Bondi said the docs will be public within 30 days. Which means 30 days until someone's political career spontaneously combusts. And that's when the Republican Party started arguing with itself. Marjorie Taylor Greene, once Trump's loudest defender, suddenly became the target of Trump's public insults. He called her a raging lunatic, then pulled his endorsement. It was like a messy breakup happening in front of the entire country. Then he went after Massie, making comments about his personal life. When sitting members of Congress start subtweeting each other like high schoolers, you know the party is in trouble. Some Republicans say, "Release everything." Others say, "No, trust the memo." Others say, "Stop talking about this, please. We have an election soon." Meanwhile, Democrats are popping popcorn in the back row, enjoying the show. And honestly, who can blame them? But here's where the tension becomes real. The 2026 midterms. The Republican majority is razor thin, like literally stickman thin. A few thousand votes flipping in a handful of districts could change everything. And the Epstein Files story is politically toxic. It divides the base. It creates distrust. It forces Republicans off their messaging. And it raises uncomfortable questions about Trump's past statements. If Democrats retake the House, they gain the power to open an impeachment inquiry. They wouldn't need the Senate for that first step, just a simple majority. They could launch investigations into contradictions between emails and Trump's statements, why transparency was promised but delayed, internal communications from agencies Trump oversaw, the political rollout of Phase 1, the files, the FBI memo versus private emails, potential obstruction or misdirection. This isn't about whether they should, it's about whether they could. And yes, in that scenario, they absolutely could. Whether removal would ever pass the Senate is a different story. But impeachment itself? That's on the table the moment Democrats hold the gavel. Which means the 2026 midterms are not just about Congress. They're about the future of the Trump presidency. And now imagine this final scene in stickman style. A giant folder labeled Epstein Files sits in the middle of a dark room. The folder shakes. Locks rattle. Flashlights shine from both sides of the aisle. Republicans, Democrats, investigators, reporters. Everyone is waiting. Trump supporters hold their breath. Trump critics lean forward. Congress stands frozen. The entire political establishment stares at the folder like it's Pandora's box. The lock clicks. A tiny gap opens. Light spills out. Then the screen cuts to black, leaving one final question for the viewers. When these files open, what exactly will come out? Truth? Chaos? Devastation? Or something bigger than anyone expects? Whatever it is, one thing is certain. This story is not ending. It's only beginning.